Mwafrika, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new, tafadhali subscribe. This is yet another amazing episode that we are having on Dear Young Ami, and I have the amazing Mercy here in the building. Tafadhali. And for the returning subscribers, Aki, thank you, man. Thank you so much. I love you so much. And make sure you have liked this video. Na msubscribe, hakuna mambo ya kuwatch bure. Nawezaje kuwa na viewers wengi kuliko subscribers, surely guys. Na nyenye muache jokes. Anyway, Mercy, karibu.
Asante.
Haya. So, Mercy, you are a dentist. Have you always wanted to be a dentist?
Okay, to start on, I never wanted to be a dentist at first. I wanted to work in the medical field, yes, as a nurse, but not as a dentist. This one I came across someone that I was working with when I had finished my Form 4. And by the way, I stayed for 5 years before joining college after Form 4. So in that juncture, I was just applying, trying. First one, I didn't have the results because I had a huge fee balance back in high school. So I was working hard, trying to save up to pay up my school fees so that I can get my results. So I was applying and not getting any replies simply because I didn't have the originals to apply with. I only had a card sort slip, no certificates, nothing. But I thank God I met someone I was working with. He was in the medical field. I was working in a clinic in town. And so he advised me that a dental course would do better than a nursing course. And then he explained what I would be doing. And I felt so interested and so passionate about it. So I went ahead and applied. My boss's wife applied for me one letter. A friend of mine who had taken me over after high school, she was my high school teacher, also applied another one for me. Those days in KMTC, you do like 3 or 4 letters applications before you get a course. And I did another one. So theirs came, mine did not come. So the one who applied for me dental course came, the one who applied for me self-sponsored nursing came. Self-sponsored nursing, I was supposed to report at Meru, KMTC, and pay tuition fee that was higher than the regular fee for tuition and accommodation back in Nairobi. So I decided to take the dental course because it was a bit cheaper because it was a regular course. And also because I already knew what it was about because my colleague and already explained to me what it was. So that's how I ended up
being a dentist. Tukule ni pause. To rewind selector. Sasa Mercy tuambie. Tell us about Mercy vile alizaliwa, her upbringing, background yake. Whether the parents were strict or not, like how was she nurtured to be this lady that is here right now?
I was born in early 80s. My parents were a bit elderly. So I had elder sisters and brothers who could be my parents also. Being second last in the family. My sister got married when I was 6 months old. That was our second born in the family. She got married when I was 6 months old. So when she went to a matrimonial home, she had difficulty conceiving. So she decided to come back and ask my father for me so that I can keep her company. And that's how I ended up in being my sister's only child up to this far. I was brought up by my elder sister together with her husband. And it was a normal family because I thought I was their child.
By the way, unaweza fikiria.
They loved me. They taught me the ways of God. They took me to church. I was baptized. I did so well in school. They attended all my meetings. I remember one time we were in a normal primary school where those who used to have the leisure of being visited were in body. But in a normal primary school, we never had visiting days.
Oh yeah.
Because we would go
Day
home
school.
every day.
Yes.
But we got a new head teacher who introduced visiting days, and they would come to visit us in school. Wow.
God bless such teachers.
It was powerful.
Yeah.
We also grew up alongside another relative, also with my brother. That is what everybody knew was my brother.
Oh, okay.
But we were not born from the same mother, but we were brought up by my sister.
Oh, okay.
And we all did well in school. We also did a medical course. And we are doing well in different fields, and we thank God for that. Okay, growing up, financially we were not badly off, but around the time I was joining high school, my brother-in-law fell sick. The one now, my sister's husband, the one who was taking care of us, he fell sick. It was cancer. That time it was so new. Nobody knew about cancer treatment and the likes. They took all our money. We had to fundraise for the same, for his treatment. But he lost the battle in 1998 where I was in Form 2. And that is where trouble started for me.
Okay.
So before I never used to be very sent home for school fees, but from there it was trouble. I'll be sent home for school fees now and then, missing so much in school. But whenever I went back, I had the determination to really make it.
Yes.
And get out of poverty.
Yes.
So in Form 3, I remember I was sent home and my sister told me to go back and pick all my things because now we cannot handle it.
Yeah.
And I remember it was really tough. But that time we had a Mheshimiwa Honorable David Miradi. He was the chairman of the school I was in the Kumena Girls.
Okay.
And so somebody advised me to go see him in my resortship. When he saw my resortship, he was very empathetic. He told me, no, such a child cannot stay at home.
Yeah.
Let me meet you at the Basar's place. I'll talk to him, and then you can talk to the principal too, so that you can get bursaries. So I went back to school, and that is how I ended finishing school.
Oh, wow.
Not because the bursaries came in, because he paid some amount, and then he talked to the elder who had taken me there.
Yeah.
One of the village elders had taken me to him, and he told him, go organize an Arambe and give me a card.
Yeah.
But he really kept his word because he honored the card. And the villagers also came out, although it was not much. But I was able to hold up until I was able to do my KCSE. At some point, I was almost sent home to go do KCSE from home, but God intervened. I was usually the best in class. So that caused me to be favored and allowed to do the KCSE from school, but the balance was huge. We also did another Arambe at Form 4 at that point because I didn't want to be sent home. And so we did another Arambe, and I managed to finish Form 4, but with still a balance. And one of my teachers took me in. Even today we are friends. She took me in. I helped her with taking care of her children. When the child went to school, there was no one else at home. She found me a job from town. So I would work from town to her home.
Oh,
and that's how we became, and that's how we have been friends ever since even today. Yeah, she's like family. Oh. Even going to college, she really contributed a lot. I remember her. She almost begged. She was a teacher, but she was training too with a secret child. And the salary that time, it was not so much. It was also very committed, but we managed. We managed. We did another Arambe at some point. And I joined college. Yes. The third year, she came around again so that I could clear and do my attachments. And I thank God I managed. And this far, I can say it was God. Favor. Yeah. Looking behind, wondering if I grew with my new parents, if I would have finished the school, I still ask that question. Because my parents lived in an area that people were not so much into school.
Oh,
They were not
okay.
so much into school. My siblings, none went beyond grade 7. None went KCPE.
Walikuwa wanasema it's not a must.
Yeah.
You don't have to go.
Kulima
Ikikosekana
kwenda
shamba.
kibarua, kulima nini shamba yako upate kitu.
Yeah.
It was a big thing that time. I thank God that my sister took me in that time because that really served my destiny.
Yeah.
I don't know where I would have been, but I thank God she took me in. She fought for me. And when my brothers were saying that there is no need of taking a girl child to school, she will end up pregnant at Form 3 and drop off. She fought. She said, this one is very bright.
You had to fall.
Yeah. That is she was rallying them so that they can at least assist in raising my school fees.
Yes.
But they were giving excuses,
course.
so that they can not even contribute a coin.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they came around, and that's how I managed. Somehow I managed.
Yeah.
Yeah, one would buy me kiwi, another one would buy me this.
And it takes a village to raise a child.
Good friends in school.
Yeah.
Some of them contributed their own money to do shopping for me. Because at
friends,
I would go back to school without shopping.
Uh-huh.
My student friends would contribute. They would even changa a tissue, a soap, a bar soap here, there, a toothpaste.
Sisterhood.
Yeah, until I was comfortable in school. At some point, I was even donating myself. Why? Because I had so much.
Yeah.
My friends have donated enough for me, and now I could help another one who is in trouble.
Yeah.
And I really thank God for that.
That is guy. Wow. You guys, that is God's favor. Now, in our, let me call it show, we major on a younger self. A lot of people tend to forget. Now let us talk about that Form 2 Mercy. You have said you were very confused because you weren't sure kama hauko sure, is this the time nitafukuzwa ama will I stay in school?
Yeah.
You were in that predicament. Considering this is a teenager we are dealing with, it must have really had an impact on you.
Yeah.
What impact did it have on you?
Wow. I thank God for that. Okay, that time I had so many fears that I may not be able to finish school. Sorry. But I remember immediately I joined school from a primary school where we used to end and speak in Kimeru, where we used to ask one of us to carry a Mwakenya for us to be beaten on Friday so that the rest of us can be and speak in mother tongue.
Yes.
I remember joining school. I was, yes, born again from primary school, but I could not even preach in class because I was not able to speak in English, fluent English, so that I can preach.
Oh, yeah.
What we bought for school is revised standard English. And so I remember telling myself, I'm giving this one that I've come from boarding just this time.
Yeah.
I'm learning this English. I used to go to the library to borrow storybooks so that I can be fluent in English.
Yes.
So that I can be able to preach. And so from there, I started getting so interested in things of God. And that's how I ended up as a CU leader. Oh. While still I was in Form 2. And by the time I was clearing school, I was the vice chair of CU. Yes. And so even when I was in Form 2 and there was trouble, I had a fallback plan, and that was God. Yes. I would go back to God. I remember we fasted in high school. The prayers we prayed. And even during holidays, there were camps. The Methodist Church used to conduct camps. They used to come at the Kumene and Kakira Methodist.
For teenagers?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's how I managed to find God very early in life. And I can tell you one testimony after another how God fought for me that time. Yes. Even when I'm telling you that some of my brothers were saying that a girl child does not deserve to be in school. She needs to be married off because she would drop and we would have wasted our money.
Yeah.
I remember praying for them so that God would fight for me. And he fought for me and they came around.
To pray for them.
Yeah. I remember at times you now cancer has cleared everything, there is no food. You know, it will not only clear money.
Yeah.
Even the person who is supposed to take care of the farm's plant is not around because she has a sick person that she's taking care of in Nairobi.
Yeah.
So at some point we actually never had even food. But I remember praying that God, you are a great provider.
Yes.
You are Jehovah Jireh, provide for us. And I would hear somebody asking anyone who, and a woman would come in carrying a whole luggage of food for us. That would even take us for 2 to 3 weeks.
He feeds his people.
God came through for us. And that's why even today, I believe in God and nobody can move me from God. Because as a young child, I saw God fight for me.
Yes.
I saw God favor me. I remember one time I was to go back to school. I didn't have school fees. I didn't have pocket money. I didn't have even money for shopping.
Yes.
And I found a magazine of Pastor Muiro. And he was speaking of Muiro was a really good evangelist that time.
Yes.
And he was speaking of a woman who had gone to bury his only child, having buried a widow, gone to bury his only child, having buried the husband the previous year. And the way Jesus met them, and when Jesus saw how the lady was crying, he asked the lady, my daughter, don't cry again. Turn around and go back home. Your son has come back to life. And the boy resurrected. When I heard Jesus said to this woman, do not cry, Pius Muru said, Jesus is also saying to you, do not cry. It doesn't matter the situation you are in, do not cry.
Yes.
And I was like, this one is directly speaking to me. I will not cry. And that evening I was packing my books and going through some old magazines I found in the house. I found a very old 500 shillings. Very old. You know the way you would put a leaf under the book and then it dries so hard.
Yes.
That is exactly how the 500 was. I remember giving that testimony in our church that time. How God has fought for me and I'm going back to school smiling. 500 shillings was a lot of money.
Yes.
I did a lot of shopping and even devotion for the class.
Hey, 500 ilikuwa kama 5K.
Yeah. And one time and again I saw God fight for me. Even that time students were contributing shopping for me. I had not even requested anyone. I had not even told anyone I was struggling. But on their own accord, they saw I was struggling. I was helping them with preps and also revision because one of they would I don't know what God had put within me because they would tell me we understand more when you explain more than the teacher. I will learn from the teacher in class.
Yule student moja.
But afterwards, I will
we understand
to them,
from you.
They will understand from me more.
Yes.
And that is how God used them to lift me that time. I was so down.
Yeah.
And I was able to clear school and dignified child.
Yes.
Having not lacked anything.
Yes.
And even what was lacking in terms of school fees, they can have a book and me.
Oh, yes.
Because that friend of mine I told you about, the teacher.
Yes.
She's actually the one who cleared the school. I never even used my money, the one I was
the one you were working for, hustling very hard to finish.
Hustling. I will not even think during the day. I was so emaciated.
I
have saved. And at the end of the day, she came and told me, I have cleared your school fees, this and your certificates. And so I was able to apply now for college.
You stop.
It is testimony after testimony.
Really?
This God has fought for me from before.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't regret.
Yes.
I have seen the faithfulness of God in my life.
Yes.
Kama si Mungu, singekuwa hivi nilivyo.
Literally.
Kabisa. He has always put someone on my way to assist me get to the next level.
Kai, I remember in 2014 there's a prophetess Margaret. Alikuwa amekuja Meru and then she was talking about wilderness. Vile alikuwa anafungua bahasha yenye ilikuanga once empty but alikuwa anaifungua daily, anatoa so na hajui hiyo so imetoka wapi but every day lazima kukuwe na so hapo kila asubuhi. Ati that was God taking her through her wilderness.
Kabisa.
And I was like, these are physical miracles. And people think miracles don't exist.
Kabisa. Miracles do exist. Miracles do exist.
Zinakujanga in all forms. Wow, sasa kufunga. I want you to talk to that girl. There's a 16-year-old Mercy somewhere. She's probably going through worse. The exact thing. Like life is just, and I feel ni kama imemkalia. And she doesn't know what's going on. Hata hajui, haelewi hata what's going on at home first of all. Hajui how to handle that situation because haget hata hiyo situation.
It is true. There is always, okay, somebody told me, when you think you are down, there is somebody else who is below you. So even in that situation that you have, count it a blessing you are at that level. There is somebody else that is lower than that. And I want to speak to that girl that thinks that she has come to the bottom completely and she has no way out. There is still a God in heaven.
Yes.
Who is looking out after you. He's just waiting for you to open up to him and tell him, God, if you do not help me, I have no one else.
Yes.
And he comes.
Yes.
In his own infinite mercy, he comes and lifts you. He places men in your way. No, I'm not talking of men in trousers and very rich. I'm talking of kind people in your way that will see that this girl needs to be helped, this boy needs to be helped, and they will hold your hand and they will ensure that you overcome that situation and get to the next level.
Yes.
I have seen God fight for me, and that is why I always encourage anyone that is going through difficult times. Maybe your family is so down, they are not able to raise your school fees. Don't give up.
Yes.
Don't give up, and don't sell off yourself.
Yes.
For you to get a favor. There is a God who is able to fight for you. He is my God. I have seen him fight for me.
Yes.
Jehovah Almighty. He has fought for me in several ways. And even today, I see him on my daily basis fighting for me. So I want to encourage that girl. Just know God, love God, surrender yourself completely to him. He is able to fight for you. It doesn't matter how deep your problems are. He is able to lift you, and you look back and say, enyewe, this was God.
Yes.
Yeah.
Swali ya mwisho. Now that you are a dentist, kuko na meno ushaiona ukajiuliza, hii mimi na fix.
I see those situations every day.
Yeah.
I see those situations every day. A very difficult situation. Some of them, they come even from people that I call my seniors.
You call?
I call them my seniors. Yani in the field.
Yes.
And you see a client coming at nimeenda, nikadungwa, ikakataa kuwork. And it is me, the small girl with a very big God. I just go in there.
Literally.
I don't know. At times I even tell the client literally that this is not me.
Yes.
This was God at work.
Yes.
Because how I managed,
how do you?
I do. One time I was actually handling even a church mate. And I remember silently saying, oh God of my father, Bishop Patrick, can you please come through for me? And God in those moments,
yes,
he comes in a big way.
Yes.
Until you realize this is not a natural strength, this is not your skills, this is not your wisdom, this is not your making, this is God at work. I have seen
you're
God
working
work
there,
for me.
unajiuliza ninadu, but you're working on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Na lazima itatokea.
And God comes through.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is so nice. Umetafutwa daktari.
Yes. Wait a moment. We are about to
Wow.
Yeah.
That was an amazing segment. Let me release you.
Yeah, thank
You
you
are
so
very
much.
busy. Thank you for giving me your time.
Yeah.
This was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Even hearing about vile you have come up.
Yeah.
Kuko na wase, they are 18, they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Or what they want to do in life. But unaona you, it took you even 5 years.
Yeah. It took me 5 years actually to get into college.
Yeah.
I was in college with babies who are younger than me by 5 years.
But haijalishi.
I
Tusome.
managed. Kizungu imesaulika. When was the last time I was in class so that I can construct a good Kizungu sentence? But God, in His own infinite ways, He helped me maneuver, and I'm here today.
It is never too late.
By
You
the
guys,
grace
you
of
have
God.
heard.
Yeah, it is never
As
too
long
late.
as you are alive and breathing, I always say this, and I will always tell you every day, as long as you are alive and breathing, it is never too late to start over, to rediscover yourself. We have a perfect example here. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. That was an amazing one. Let us meet on the next segment of Dear Young Ami. I am your host, Ashley Moigai. Stay tuned and follow me on my socials. Bye.